everybody. Happy Sunday. We're so glad you're here this week. Go grab your pen and your paper. We are going to give you a quiz to help you decide if you're ready for your full-time traveling nomad life. We're Chris and Steve, an early retired couple who sold everything to travel the world full-time. We share our nomad life, hikes, and vegan eats. Grab our book, 2 Carry-Ons and a Plan on Amazon, and follow us on social. Subscribe to catch our video every Sunday. So where are we this week?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. We are still in Split, Croatia. We're going to be here for about another week, and the weather's been fantastic. We're having just a fantastic time. And this week we thought we'd have some fun with our quiz to see if you're ready for nomad life. So why don't we start with the first question?
Well, I thought maybe we'd give a little background to why we're having the quiz.
Yes.
Okay. So, we've been traveling for 18 months, and every time we go someplace or we post something on Facebook or we're on Instagram, whatever, people are asking us, like, what's our backstory and how do you know if you're ready to be a nomad? So while we've been traveling, I actually wrote a book called 2 Carry-Ons and a Plan. You can see the links in the description and you can get it on Amazon. It's an ebook, but it has all of these questions answered in it, and in it are to-do lists, guidelines, schedules, sample itineraries, all kinds of things. It's not only a love story of Steve and me, but it's a practical set of information and instructions for how to do your nomad life. But we're going to cut to the chase, and we're going to give you a quiz, and if you get the most amount of points on this quiz, you are ready to pack your bags and go. So if you're ready, we're going to start with question number 1.
Okay, question number 1. How long have you been thinking about being a full-time nomad traveler?
Okay, how long have you been thinking about being a full-time traveling nomad? So the answers are A, just learned about the idea. B, a while, I'm starting to plan. C, a long time, I'm working the plan now. Or D, already traveling and absolutely love it. So while you're looking at your answers and trying to figure out what you want to say, we're just going to give you a little backstory about how we got ready. I mean, I was probably born ready. I mean, back when I was 22 and I was starting to put in my 401k, I knew that I wanted to travel and travel full time or do some sort of travel when I retired. Of course, I didn't know at 22 that it was going to be a full-time traveling nomad lifestyle, but by the time I was getting close to retirement, I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I was financially ready, and all I had to do was meet him and convince him that he wanted to go too. But he had kind of a different story.
Yeah, so, when I first met Chris back in the end of 2008, I was actually working a job where I was pretty much a full-time traveler. I was a digital nomad. We didn't call it that back then, or at least I didn't call it back then. I called it a horrible job where I was never home and I was gone for 6 days a week. But I definitely was on the road all the time, full-time. And so I knew what it was like, and I knew that that's something that I wanted to do, but I really didn't know that, retirement and retiring early and being a full-time traveler was really, the right thing for me. I think it took me a little bit more time and a little bit more convincing. But once I came around to the idea, it's been great.
So, and we talk a lot more about that in the book if you want to read the book. But anyway, so let's go on to question number 2. What's question number 2?
Well, question number 2 is, have you had conversations with your significant others or even with yourself about starting a full-time nomad journey?
So here are your answers. Answer A, I'm a solo traveler and haven't told anybody. B, I haven't talked to my partner nor my family. C, I've had conversations with my family and friends. Or D, I'm done talking and I'm already on the road. So while you look at those answers, we'll tell you a little bit about our conversation. So I was absolutely ready to go. I meet Steve. Steve's my second husband. And I think on our first date, I asked, our second question was something like, what airline do you like to travel? So anyway, as we dated and got engaged and in our marriage, we traveled a lot and we learned that we were travel compatible. And that was the first clue on, I knew I was with the right person to do full-time traveling. What's travel compatible?
Yeah, so travel is really stressful, and it's a really great opportunity for you to see how compatible you are with your mate, with your travel companion. And so we had a lot of opportunity to test that out and to see if we were compatible. And it turns out we were very compatible.
But
We
what are some of
definitely
those things? Like we both wanted to have carry-on luggage. We both wanted to. He wanted the window, and I wanted, or I wanted the window, and he wanted the aisle. And it just there's just like, how soon do you want to get to the airport? Are you willing to take transit? Just different sorts of things that seem, maybe you think they're pretty easy and they're very easy decisions, but when you throw that on top of somebody else, maybe they don't think those are easy decisions or don't want to travel the way that you do, right?
Yeah, and we're also very compatible when it comes to planning the travel. We both love logistics. We love figuring it out and figuring out, the hack on how to do something maybe a little bit differently than other people. So it's a challenge for us. It's one that
We enjoy.
we enjoy the challenge, and it's just a lot of fun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What is question number 3?
So question number 3 is about the finances. Are you financially ready for full-time travel?
And your answer choices are A, but I'm still working and planning. No, but I'm still working and planning. B, probably, but I'll probably be a digital nomad. C, yes, my assets are somewhat secure and I pray to the stock market every day. Or D, yes, already on the road and loving it. So our financial story is probably different than a lot of other people's story. I'm a poster child for a 401k matching corporate America, do the right thing. I started putting in money away when I was 22. When I got bonuses or whatever, I stocked those away. And at 22, I was already planning to retire early at 59. Or at 55. Fortunately, I got to retire a little bit earlier at 49. So when all this started coming about for us, I was financially ready. But Steve, on the other hand, he had a different story to tell.
I really didn't know if I was financially ready or not. And I think it wasn't until I did the spreadsheet and I actually planned it out and I actually looked at the calculations, used the 4% rule, used my own, insights and my own statistics and my own calculations, and actually saw it and did the analytics and saw it in black and white and said, oh, I can make this work. I can create a plan. I can figure this out and have a target. And financially, this is something that can work for us. So it took me that analytical look at it in order to really make a decision that the finances work. Otherwise, I'd just be working forever.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, if we're ready for the next question, Steve, what's the next question?
So the next question
Number 4.
is, do you have a launch date? And by launch, I mean, are you ready to be a full-time traveler?
Right. So your question answer options are A, no, man, too many unresolved issues going on right now. B, I have a general idea and I'm starting to develop a plan. C, I have a date and a plan. And D, I hit my date and I'm traveling full time already. So
Yeah.
as you take a look at those answers, we'll tell you our story about how it actually all kind of came together.
Are we going to talk about the cabin in the
We're
woods?
going to talk about the cabin in the woods. So, we had been talking about this idea of full-time travel. Many iterations had gone through our conversation. Finally, we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. We were starting to figure out we were ready. And we decided, but it was like chaos, like all this chaos going on. And we were constantly talking about it. We weren't coming into decisions. And we kind of felt like we were on spin cycle for a little bit. So I said, okay, time out. We are going to get a cabin in the woods up in the mountains of Colorado and stay there for the weekend and just hash this out. So Steve and I and our dog went up to the cabin in the woods. It was actually about this time 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, because we were up in the Aspens and watched the Aspens turning color in the beautiful Colorado mountains, the Rocky Mountains. And we sat there and hashed it out for 48 hours. And when we left, we had a date. We had a possible itinerary. The itinerary absolutely blew up. But anyway, we had a date. And that is probably the most important step in all of this, is putting a date on the calendar.
Yeah. You may not know that Chris has a superpower. Chris's superpower is that when she sets a goal, when she sets her mind to something, and especially when she puts it down in writing, it happens. it happens faster than she expected. So when if you don't have a date yet and you don't have that set in stone for you, I suggest write it down. Even if you think it's 4 years from now, like what we did, write it down and start moving towards that goal. And if your superpower is anything like Chris's superpower, you'll make it happen.
It was 4 years ago, but it was actually 2 years from the date that we set
Right.
it down and when we
Until we
left. It
left.
was a 2-year timeline for when we left. The book actually has all of our schedules and timelines and all the order of things that we did them in. So anyway, pull out a calendar, and if you just have to just close your eyes and point to a date, do it. Just pick a date. It may not make sense, just pick a date. Like if you even want to pause the video and go pick a date, do that. Okay. All right. Question number 5. Last question. Here we go.
Okay.
Number 5.
So our last question is, do you have a plan to get rid of all of your stuff?
Okay, here are your answer choices for number 5. A, what? I don't think so. I'm not ready to get rid of my precious things. B, yes, I've stopped buying stuff. That's a big step. C, yes, I started downsizing and I have a plan. And D, I've sold it all and I'm on the road. That stop buying stuff, that was probably one of the hardest things we had to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is something where, again, I have to take a deep breath because it was not easy for me to not only stop buying things, I love shopping, but also to start really get rid of stuff and everything. So if you don't know, the title of our book is 2 Carry-Ons and a Plan. We have 2 carry-on bags. That's everything that we own. We have no storage unit. We've got no set of boxes at grandma's house. That's it. Everything that we own in our entire lives is in our carry-on bags. And that was not only difficult to think about, but difficult to actually do it.
But once we did it, man, boy, is it freeing. We are so glad. And you know what? There's a lot of people in this community that have storage units or boxes at grandma's house, and that's fine. I mean, we're not passing judgment on that. Just for us, that's what works. So we did everything from, we didn't do really any garage sales because I didn't want to deal with a bunch of individual buyers coming and haggling me on a bunch of different things. So we had our family come and take things from the house, and we gave away a few things, and then we had an estate sale, and then we had a free-for-all sale. We actually put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace and said, everything in the house is free, come and get it.
Come get it.
Come get it. And so for 4 hours, people, strangers, all kinds of characters came into the house and took whatever was left, and we went from 2,800 square feet to 1 bag of trash. That was it.
1 bag of trash was left after that weekend.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to know how to do that or how you advertise all that, that's in the book too. Okay. So now that you've answered all the questions, we're going to tell you to give yourself your points. So if you have, go and give yourself 1 point for all your A's, 2 points for all your B's, 3 points for all your C's, and 4 points for all your D's. So we're going to add those all up. And if you are 0 to 5 points, I'm getting my little scale out here. If you are 0 to 5 points, man, you have a long way to go. But just keep on reading, keep on watching, keep on thinking about it, and you'll get there. So go team. We're your number 1 cheerleaders. If you have 5 to 10 points, start talking. You've got to start having those conversations and maybe talking to your boss and your kids and everybody else because they'll have some feedback for you. If you're 10 to 15 points, you are ready to set that date. So go, when you finish the video, by the way, subscribe before you get off of here. Finish that video, or start packing, so I'm sorry. Set your date, go set that date, get the calendar out, put a big old, if you have a wall calendar, put a big old star or airplane on it or something and really drive that visual home that's your date for your departure. If you are 15 to 20 points, man, oh man, start packing. Figure out what suitcase you're taking, how much you're going to put into it. You're ready to go. And do us a favor. Let's see your pictures. So if you have already launched, do you have any tips for anybody? If you haven't even thought about it, what questions do you have? And if you're anywhere in between, what advice would you give people as they're getting ready to go launch? We love you guys. This is the best experience of our life, and we hope you'll do it too, so you have the best experience of your life. We'll see you next week with more tips on how to live your nomad life.